25th meeting of the Carroll County Commissioners to order. And the first item on the agenda is public input from anyone. Mr. Rose?
1 o'clock today and at the Tri-County Cap Building. We're holding a presentation by Kiwanis, who's donated $800 to buy bus stop signs for the buses. And it's going to be attended by Kiwanis and Tri-County Cap and covered by the paper.
Okay, good. And Mr. Babson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think that your board ought to have a policy that when you address the public, that you address them by their full name rather than Mr. in the company or Mrs. in the occupation. It's, I think, very unprofessional, and we show respect for you people. I would like to hope the board would do the same thing.
Well, I hope I follow that procedure. I think it's professional to do that. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Months ago, or a month ago, I'm not sure how long ago, I had some questions in reference to the IT contract.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, Commissioner Solomon was reviewing those answers. Is there a, could I get a copy of those
Absolutely.
answers, or do I have to submit a 90?
No, I will give you a copy. No problem with it.
Thank you.
The list of questions that you had sent in,
Yes.
last week I told you that you could get it
Last week.
downstairs.
Commissioner
I merely said I hadn't
Solomon
seen
was
it yet.
reviewing them.
I merely said that I had not completely finished the reading of it, but certainly we have it.
And where would I go to get those?
Go down to the office, see if they have a copy. Otherwise, I'll have my copy copied for you.
Thank you so much. I do have 2 follow-ups.
Yeah.
Are you at this time ready to release the cost of the recent investigation of the nursing home? There was an investigation, the
Right.
social worker.
Right.
Is there a cost?
I have
related to
not seen the report, and neither have I seen a bill for the investigation.
Okay.
I would expect that report to be done fairly soon.
It is ready.
It is ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We
I
have
haven't
to
seen-
meet
Okay.
on it.
You've seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, but we have to meet on it.
And you've seen it?
You didn't check your email. It said we got
I
that.
don't
report?
accept county business over my email.
This
The
is
only
this
thing
is
what I got is the
legal.
report is done and they were going to send it.
Okay. Okay. We haven't received it yet.
It'll be in the mail.
It's done.
Great. So you'll be revealing that cost when...
Yep.
And have you hired an HR person yet?
No.
No. We've interviewed. We're waiting for one more interview, and hopefully next week we'll hire somebody. Yep.
Okay.
The committee narrowed it down to 7. 2 dropped out, and we interviewed. Who we
4.
interviewed? 4?
4.
4. Yes.
4, and we're waiting for the 5th one. Yep. Good candidates. We have 2 good ones at least.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else for public input?
I'd like to say something.
Yes. Mr. Perry.
I, Dean Perry, would like to advise Commissioner David Sorensen and Dorothy Solomon that I'm filing a public formal grievance against you for abuse of authority as an elected public official, for your failure to properly and ethically enforce your duties to me as mandated under the New Hampshire RSA 28 due to your actions in concerning my harassment grievance against the CCDOC, which was formally filed on June 13, 2012. It is also my wish this grievance be handled publicly due to the actions of this board. Since filing my harassment grievance on June 13, 2012, these 2 commissioners have acted in an unprofessional and biased manner. They collectively and knowingly have made several false statements, broken several county and state policies, and have violated my civil rights. These commissioners have not only allowed the harassment and retaliation against me to continue, but now taken an active part in it as well. When I approached the commission on June 13th with my concerns about the unfair demotion and suspension, I was informed by Commissioner Sorensen that the commissioners not only approve these actions, but support the Superintendent Johnson's actions fully. Commissioner Kenny then stated she did not support the comment.
Was it, wait a minute,
Can I finish?
was this in public session or
This was-
non-public?
No,
Excuse me?
Let me finish.
it was
Well,
a
no, wait a
non-public
minute.
session.
It's non-public, you're not supposed to be saying anything.
This is going public with this grievance
But
that I'm
if it was
filing
a
against.
non-public,
This
which
is not to do with what,
What you just stated is,
are you gonna listen or not?
Well, if it's non-public, you're not supposed to be bringing anything up that's non-public.
This is a grievance against the two of you of how you've handled it.
But you just stated something about June 13th.
Correct. That's the dates that we were met.
That
Yep.
would have been non-public.
You, in your,
If you want to go
on
ahead,
your government oversight, you stated that anytime that there is a grievance against an elected official, you have the right to go public with it. You stated that on the government oversight. And that's what I'm doing.
you may go non-public. That's not the issue.
This is,
The issue is bringing to a public meeting something that has been discussed in a non-public
Non-public.
session.
this, the grievance and the way that you guys have handled it is what I'm going public with. The actions that have taken prior and the things that we can't discuss in public are not being discussed.
But you just did.
The demotion is not
I'm not referring to that.
the suspension
He
or
didn't.
the
I'm not
dates
referring
that
to
we...
that.
He didn't even finish, so we didn't know if he's bringing up all non-public. So let him finish, so we see what he's bringing up.
Our comments that were made in the non-public session are non-public.
that's right.
And
we-
that's what you're bringing up.
yeah. We have never met with you except with non-public.
Correct. Everything that you've handled against the grievance is wrong. And that's why I've written this grievance, and that's why it's coming public.
As long as you, if you're saying that this was not done in non-public, we'll continue. But if it was done in non-public, then you're liable for bringing that information out.
Any
I'm
information...
just giving you a sort of a warning, that if it's non-public, then you could be held liable.
Nothing that is written in here
Yep.
pertains to anything specifically on the incidents that have occurred. that
Doesn't
have
matter.
caused- That have caused.
It doesn't matter as long as it was brought up in public. But if you're going to be talking about things in non-public, then you're liable for the consequences,
Okay.
okay? Mr. Babson, you got a comment?
Yes, could I make a suggestion, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Could you go into non-public session and listen to what he has to say while we go out, and then come back in, and if you decide to make it public, the
That's-
gentleman can read a statement?
That's a good point.
But I think I thought he was coming the end of the
Yes.
day too.
Well,
He is on our,
you don't say anymore.
okay.
We have a non-public at 11 o'clock. Let's not get into some non-public information, okay? I think, I don't know, how's the board feel? I think that's a good idea, to listen to what he has to say and then
Certainly.
decide whether it's public or not.
I have no problem.
That we listen, we don't even know what it is, if it is non-public or public, so what he just was saying. I don't know.
You want us to?
Just
I
state what
move,
you want to say, and
I move that we go into non-public for the purpose of Mr. Perry's
but
comments.
not now. We have non-public at the end.
Well,
But Mr. Perry wants to speak
he wants
now.
to speak. And if he's going to speak about what's going to happen at another time,
I don't know. He said something that he stated he wants this to be public. We didn't even listen what he wants to be public, and you want to go immediately in non-public.
Well, he started
we don't even
mentioning things that was done in non-public. That's why I cautioned him. And also, could you make copies of that?
I have
So-
copies.
You have copies? Well, maybe if we could see copies of it, we could do it right now. Yes.
I'm reading the right to know law right now, and it seems like the non-public, non-public is for his protection, and it seems like he could bring it out of non-public, and it could be discussed.
Absolutely.
That's,
It's not a question of his not being able to bring out his public information. It's a question of referring back to something that we already have
Did
in non-public.
right, what I'm saying is, if he wants to make it public, you could easily decide that retroactively, that the meeting could be discussed,
It's about him. Why
because it's about him.
It's about him. He absolutely has the right to make it public. First Amendment. We don't want to bind by the Constitution.
Yeah.
By the way, you're exactly right. So,
probably kind of what you did. Did a lot different to that. They scoped them all up and everything. You know, I'm not called. I understand. Okay, we didn't know what the process was. They changed. We didn't know. But we're right down the road, like in the brand.
You gotta go right by here. I have to go over this place. I'm gonna call the boss over there today. Let you know. Yeah, go to that.
Yeah, we got them back.
I don't see any details in it. He's just complaining about the handling of his personal records. And he has just a complaint against elected officials and why he has a complaint. I don't see any details of the jailing.
Did you make those in public or in non-public? I think you made them in non-public.
Would you write?
I said it in public,
No, you
not
didn't.
this. This is what he put in,
No, you didn't.
that I was not concerned with. Yeah, that
No,
was in public.
you could not have said that in public, because we would never discuss that.
No, because I said, I'll make a comment when I suddenly get a report in front of me.
But that was in non-public.
No, that was in a public meeting. It's on government oversight.
I'd like to see that. I can't believe that that's in public. You
Yeah.
have that here?
What date is it?
I make a comment in public. I think that he put this in. But when I get that report a couple minutes before he was coming in, it was in public,
13.
and I said, what is
June.
this? And he said that was the investigation report. And I said, who decided that? And you make a long comment in public too.
Oh, that's has to be July. I'm sorry.
July 13th.
I see no problem with the exception of one paragraph.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. That's already been,
Next to the last paragraph, I think that that is non-public information.
Which one? Which is
Next to the
not-
last paragraph. Otherwise, the rest of it could be read.
What is not public? This you mean?
This section right here.
But it wasn't public.
It couldn't have been.
I make a comment in public.
It couldn't have been.
It was even in the paper reported it.
I didn't see any report on that newspaper.
Okay,
Can I continue?
sure can.
Maybe you should start from the top before you were rudely interrupted.
All right.
You can get a grasp of this.
I, Dean Perry, would like to advise Commissioner David Sorensen and Dorothy Solomon that I'm filing a public formal grievance against you for the abuse of authority as elected public official and for your failure to properly, ethically enforce your duties as mandated in New Hampshire RSA 28 due to your actions concerning my harassment grievance against CCDOC, which was formally filed on June 13th, 2012. It's also my wish for this grievance to be handled publicly due to the actions of this board. Since filing my harassment grievance on June 13th, 2012, these two commissioners have acted in an unprofessional and biased manner. They collectively and knowingly have made several false statements, broken several county and state policies, and have violated my civil rights. These commissioners have not only allowed the harassment and retaliation against me to continue, but are now taking an active part in it as well. When I approached this commission on June 13th with my concerns of an unfair demotion and suspension, I was informed by Commissioner Sorensen that the commissioners not only approved the actions but support the superintendent's actions fully. Commissioner Kenny then stated she did not support this comment as she did not feel the severity of the action against me was justified. It was at this time I personally handed the board a formal harassment grievance against CCDOC and requested a formal investigation to be done into these actions by an unbiased outside source. I then made it clear I would only speak to the investigator as factual information of my grievance due to the officials involved and due to my fear of continued harassment and retaliation. Commissioner Sorensen granted this request. I also asked that the HR generalist not be involved in any way due to direct conflict of interest, which was understood and supported by Commissioner Kenny. In fact, since my grievance was filed, these two commissioners have not only repeatedly ignored my request, but has allowed the individual to deny me access to my own file and allowed her to pass my personal file to several people without my knowledge. When I was finally allowed to view my file, I noticed important documentation concerning my grievance has been removed. The two commissioners continue to allow this individual to attend all hearings despite my request and the request of Commissioner Kenny. They then placed her in direct charge of all documents, evidence, information concerning my grievance and matters I have requested after filing. Per a letter dated June 22nd, 2012, the HR generalist admits she personally reviewed my personnel file with the Superintendent Johnson and Captain Fowler, both who are part of the grievance. This individual has no authority to commit such acts. All these actions were allowed under the direction of and supervision of Commissioners Sorensen and Solomon. These actions in their entirety are direct violations of County Policy 7E100 and New Hampshire Statute RSAs 31, 39A, 354A, and 147A. I find this not only to be intentional, but very disturbing considering on June 1st, 2011, both Solomon and Sorensen carried a motion stating, with the exception of the HR director, no one will view the personnel records without prior approval and vote of the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Sorensen followed by stating personnel records are not to be viewed by anyone without permission of that person. Furthermore, the commissioners continue to try to force me to turn over my factual information to them concerning my grievance. They have also involved several other county employees in their effort to achieve this. I refuse to turn over or speak to them about the information I have, as it is obvious they are not to be trusted and cannot ensure the integrity of such information based on previous actions. On July 9th, I wrote a letter to the commissioners stating my concerns of their unethical actions and failure to provide me with a proper investigation. I was informed that due to their actions, the web of family connections and professional friendships, all aspects of the county government were involved in my grievance in some way, either directly or indirectly. I asked for Sorensen to stand behind his word and allow a formal, unbiased investigation by an outside, unconnected source. I received no response on my letter, but I was informed by yet another county employee that I had to report to a hearing on July 11, 2012. On July 11, 2012, Sorensen informed me the investigation had taken place and was complete, and I now had to present my information to them. I questioned this as I was not spoken to by anyone and had been aware of any investigation, had not been aware. Sorensen informed me that the investigator did not have to speak to me in order to complete his investigation. I then asked how this could be considered fair and unbiased and wanted to know who and when and who conducted the investigation, as the whole process made no sense and was completely one-sided. Superintendent Johnson stated that he personally drove the files to a fellow superintendent and then later personally retrieved the files and delivered them to the commissioners. Commissioner Kenny then
That's right.
said she was surprised to hear of this, as the other two commissioners never informed her the investigation took place or by who. I then had to request repeatedly that I be given a copy of this investigative report. When Sorensen finally allowed me to have a copy, I was shocked. This is not an investigative report, but a personal letter addressed to Superintendent Johnson. In reading the letter, it became evident that this letter was written per Superintendent Johnson's request, and all the information in it was intended to be used as a peer review only. It also became evident that Captain Fowler had also spoken to this individual concerning various issues, which included review of my personnel file. All these actions are also a violation of county policy and my civil rights. The fact that Sorensen and Solomon excluded Kenny and in this process further proves they intend to handle the grievance the way they see fit, despite breaking many laws. I find it completely unprofessional, unethical, and these commissioners are allowing Superintendent Johnson to use this personal letter as a formal investigative report into my grievance against the CCDOC, when the letter clearly states, as the writer is not an attorney and have not completed an independent investigation, and is intended to be used as a peer review from superintendent to another. As an 8-year employee of this county, I refuse to be subject to the good old boy antics of these commissioners and the people they support any longer. I'm making my grievance public to expose the actions and to ensure that the harassment grievance will properly be dealt with. Commissioners have no professional structure for formal procedures in place for non-union employees as to how a grievance is handled or investigated, especially when it involves the highest of county officials. As a sole supervising agent,
I would question that you read that one. I'd rather that. My recommendation would be to skip that, because that was a non-public, and another paragraph that you read was a non-public also. So I'm asking that you skip that paragraph and go to the last paragraph.
I asked once again the board to remember the obligations to discontinue its unlawful and unethical acts towards me. I also want to make the board aware that I will not allow this treatment, nor will I allow my grievance to be swept under the Carroll County carpet any longer. I expect to be treated fairly and my grievance to be handled in a professional, legal, and ethical manner.